Hey, what's going on, guys? Brad with DividendReaper.com coming at you with my passive income portfolio update for the month of December. And it is a whopping dividend payment for the month. Go through it right here. This is the first of a couple spreadsheets that I use to keep track of my portfolio here and the payments that I receive from it. And I've expanded it a little bit to also include what I want to include moving forward, which will be a publishing section to show additional passive income that I might receive from books published through Amazon or KDP. So on the left side is the dividends received for the month of December. Lots of dividend payments here for a total of $217.11. This is a new record for the Dividend Reaper portfolio or the Dividend Scythe. So great month. I love to see months like this. I love seeing the dividends increase and get us closer and closer and closer to early retirement, or even at least being able to tell my wife that she can retire early, potentially spend more time with our son, our soon-to-be son. As you can probably see from back there, there's some boxes of all sorts of crap that we had to put for the nursery or stroller, etc. Things to get prepared for when he shows up. Really, any day now in the next 2 months. So this will help out immensely moving forward. So great to see this. Moving forward, though, I am going to miss two of those payments the next time this quarterly payment comes up because I have in this last month sold out of my position in Stag Industrial, and I have also sold out the position in American Railcar. American Railcar, I had big expectations for what the stock was going to do, and for some reason, it just sometimes you just get that stock where everything seems to align, but it's just not doing what you expected it to do. And it got really, really close to being able to pay out my position. So I basically just jumped on it, ended up in the positive, barely, but in the positive for it. So I didn't lose any money on it, which is always good. And then as far as Stag is concerned, I think I had something like a 60% increase on that long term capital gain. So definitely made out on that deal. On the second column here, again, this is a publishing column that I want to go ahead and start to keep track of books because moving forward, I really, really want to start digging my heels in on this passive income. And there are multiple ways to really generate passive income. And one of the biggest ways that I see here available to me, because I'm a decent writer, I'm not a great writer, but I did a lot of it for college, which means that I can usually crank things out really quickly. If I need to crank out a 10-page paper, I can usually do that in just a couple hours. So if you really translate that over to books, you potentially could start making some money from it. So the first section that I did on here is I went ahead and released a couple books for Dungeons and Dragons that were just some quick ideas as to what dungeon masters could do. And it's actually selling pretty decently. I've been testing this over the last year. I've brought in about 70 or 80 bucks on this, so it's actually sold decently well for what I expected it to. Especially when you consider the fact that I didn't spend anything to make any book covers or anything for it. So it's literally just $70 of me just sitting there while watching TV, entering in a couple things on a uh, Google document that compiles to become this book. And whether it's good or not, I don't want to say that I would release bad books, but if you write something, you may as well publish it and see if you can make money off of it. As long as you're not giving out really, really poor information that's going to get you sued or something, make sure to contain the legal language at the start. But I just see money on the table, whether it be a little bit of money or a lot of bit of money over time. It really is passive income because you do it once, save it, publish it, and then you just step away. And there is a marketing aspect of it, but it's really it doesn't take a whole lot of your time because with these role playing books that I released, I think in total probably only spent maybe a couple hours writing what I did to go ahead and publish for those, and they just keep. I'm not doing anything to sell them. They're literally just continuing to do it. So for this last year and a half, while I've been focusing really hard on some designations at work, like that's been generating passive income. And the more you can do that, then the more you're making money while you're sleeping, basically. And you really can't put a price tag on that. So that's what I've got so far for the December income as far as additional passive income. This next spreadsheet is my dividends over time. This is the spreadsheet that I use to track the dividends that I have received over the last 3 years now. First year, please don't judge the first year. The first year is pretty terrible because the first year was when I was kind of trying to figure out whether or not I was actually going to do this or not. And so I only had a couple holdings that were dividend holdings and others that were just kind of stocks that I was really trying to get my legs underneath me to try and figure out how to invest because I didn't really have anyone to teach me how to do it. So I had to learn how to do it myself. And that first year definitely shows it because it was not a great first year, but it's what allowed me to discover dividend investing and getting to where I am today. So it's kind of like the price of entry was my losing a couple $100 with $1,000 that I decided just to test with for the first year. So it worked out relatively good considering the fact that when we tally up the 2017 dividends, I mean, $1,081.47. That's $1,000 plus that didn't have to work for. And again, it's all about, you know, look at what billionaires do, figure out how they do it, and most of them do it by making money while they sleep. You have to figure out some way to do that. Otherwise, it's almost like retirement is this mythical beast that will never happen. And that's why I've chosen dividends, is that I like the idea of it's just this constantly revolving door of payments that I don't have to work for. You do that huge initial step of doing your good research and trying to choose good companies, but then after that's all done, a lot of it's just kind of a maintenance period. Unless you see huge sell symbols, you just kind of hold them and you become an investor, not a trader, but an investor, someone that actually wants to hold your positions and hold your position in those companies that you're proud to say you hold positions in. And that's why I really love dividend investing. And I think that at now that it's 3 years in, I don't have any regrets about this. I think the portfolio has done extremely well. My trades, I've learned a lot of lessons, but you know what? I've also really come a long, long way. And just, I would say, learned a lot. Um, with that being said, the last slide I want to go ahead and share in this passive income update is just the portfolio in general. This is now fully updated. So, projected annual income, if I were to just sit on this thing and not add anything or subtract anything, I think I haven't seen if any of these have updated any dividends lately, but other than the ones that I've been updating on the site specifically. But looks like $1,514.95 is what's projected currently with the portfolio as it stands today, which equates to $126.25 per month. That's, I mean, I hate to say this, and I was talking to my wife about this, but realistically, it doesn't seem like a lot of money. And then I think back, I'm like, you know what? When I was 16 and I got my first job, that's what I made on my paychecks. So I'm already monthly to the point where I was making my 2 week paycheck at my first job, getting paid next to nothing. But it's great to know that, like, basically, I have a 16-year-old. Oh, this is going to sound terrible, but I may basically have like slave labor. My dividend portfolio was a little kid, little 16-year-old me going to work every day and making jack diddly squat, but still making a paycheck. That's kind of what this is monthly. It's my paycheck from when I was 16. So it's really interesting just to think about moving forward. In 5 years from now, am I going to be saying the same thing about my paycheck that I was making right now, or the paycheck my wife is making right now? It'll be interesting to see how that sits there. So that's why I'm a big fan of spreadsheets, and I will always track this. Even if I stop doing dividends, it'll still be something I will track everything because it's always great to see where you were and the differences you've made. Because anytime you're down on yourself, you can always look back at it and look historically and say, you felt bad, see where you were and see where you are now, and try to tell me you didn't make any kind of growth in that amount of time. And it just makes you feel good inside. So that's really what it's worth for me. But sorry for a boring video. I know there's not really a whole lot of ways out there to spice up these kind of videos other than just say, like, look, this is what we're getting in passive income right now, and just I'm trying to capture this in time so later on in life I can go back, look at this video, and say, look, this is what I was thinking, this is what I was taking in at that point in time, and these are the thoughts that I had when the portfolio was at this position. So that's really what I'm trying to do with these videos, is just time catalog these things, and maybe I'll show it to my son someday when he's old enough to understand what the hell this is. But we'll see when that conversation comes up. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you yourself are running a dividend portfolio, I would love to hear what you received in the month of December. And if you're having any kind of passive income outside of dividends, I would love to hear what you're doing. If you've done KDP, if you've done self publishing, what you're making on this, if there's any tricks, tips, anything that really helps you maximize the gains you can get from that, I would love to hear from you guys. But until next time, I'm going to go ahead and end this video because I think it's already a little long winded. And I will see you next month to share my next month's dividend income. Take care, everyone. Till next time.